Hi all, welcome to PWOLI IAS. So finally we are here with Public Administration's Rapid Revision. Let us not waste any time. Let us get right into it. My Telegram channel, in the event you have any last minute queries with regard to your preparation, so let us get right into it. Let us start with the very first thinker, Woodrow Wilson. So Woodrow Wilson, what are the important points you need to know? The father of public administration, and he started off the whole idea of making public administration a separate discipline, and it started off with his 1887 essay, The Study of Administration. He was a critique of the spoil system. What do you mean by spoil system? Spoil system simply means whoever wins the political power or whoever wins the elections and forms the government, they will appoint their favorites in different government posts. This was back in the 1800s. Getting the point here, in USA. So he was against that system, and he basically told that we need a technically schooled merit-based civil service. Like what we have today. UPSC Civil Service, Staff Selection Commission. He was concerned about how rather than who. That is, at this point of time, one must understand here, in Woodrow Wilson's era, administrative job was considered to be a mere clerical job. That is, anybody can do administration. But he was more concerned about how. How are you going to do it? Getting the point here. And everybody were busy with the political systems of the country. Should it be a democracy? Should it be an oligarchy? Etc. etc. So here, he was more concerned about the how part of administration. Believed in a science of administration. A science of administration means that is there is a way to administer, scientific way, based on merit, based on logic. But interestingly enough, he did not specify any such method. Public opinion, a multitudinous monarch. He was not so much in favor of what we call public opinion. Why? He felt that there is too much of democracy in USA. People are constantly demanding one thing or the other, and how are you going to do justice to it? So in this way, he told that public opinion, it's a multitudinous monarch. Means what? Multitudinous means it's almost like multiple kings are there. Monarchy means you only have one person to listen to, the king. But in public opinion's case, if you actually see, you have to listen to multiple people. Best example for this, if you actually see, it is basically the freebie culture what we have here. So there are people who are totally happy with it. There are people who are totally unhappy with it. So if you ask the educated class in the country, many of them will actually be unhappy with it, saying that freebies is a wastage of money. But on the other hand, we also know that freebies do bring certain socio-economic benefits to the poorest section of the households or the society. There is more government in Europe, comparative methods of administration. That is, he was the first proponent to actually compare the administrative systems in two places. So USA at that point of time was democracy, but Europe in the same time period, that is during 1880s, it was under a king's rule. So he felt that Europe is much better because there decisions were happening very fast. Public opinion was bare minimal, obviously, because it's a king's rule. So he talked about, let us try to bring certain aspects from the European administration into American administration without taking the entire system. That is, the way public opinion is controlled in Europe, let us try to bring that here without importing the entire king's rule what is there in Europe. Again, he was not very clear or sure about how are you going to do it. Administration is administration, politics is politics. That means he wanted to keep politics and administration completely separate. He basically felt that administrators should not involve themselves with political questions. Now, this is very much true in today's scenario, considering the fact that administration or administrators as such are always at the mercy of politicians. Be it their transfer, be it most of their postings, these are all nothing but what? The blessings or the curse of the political bosses. So in that sense, we can say we need to keep these two separately. But on the other hand, events like 26/11, COVID-19 clearly tells us why it is important for the administration, the political establishment to actually have very close contact with administrators. Because with administrators, they get to know what is the ground level reality. They get to know the full picture. But in other places, they were interdependent. Obviously, administration should be business-like. That means it should work like business. Very efficient, very economical, very effective. Even before NPM came as a theory, Woodrow Wilson was the first thinker who actually propounded efficiency, economy, effectiveness. Moving on. F.W. Taylor is known as the father of scientific management. In 1911, he gave the principles of scientific management, which are universal. So from this point onwards, we are basically seeing thinkers who actually advocated that there are a set of universal principles which can be applied in any organization. ऑर्गेनाइजेशन चाहे जो भी हो वहां पर आप इसे इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं. पार्टनरशिप बिटवीन ट्रेन स्टाफ, क्वालिफाइड मैनेजमेंट एंड कोऑपरेटिव वर्कर्स. Trained staff, management, cooperative workers. This is what any organization is supposed to be. And he basically gave us terms like soldering or skewing. So every thinker, there are certain key words which you need to remember. So here he has given soldering or skewing. 3 reasons. That is reducing the productivity. Purposefully giving less productivity. जानबूझकर कम काम करना. वजह, more productivity can lead to elimination. यानी कि मैं अगर ज्यादा काम करूंगा तो मेरे दोस्त का, मेरे co-worker का नौकरी चले जाएगा. This is what Taylor is telling. In the modern world, it doesn't make any sense. That is, if I work more, my colleague's job is going to go. Great, let it go. Who cares? At least in a private field, it is strictly based on competition. Whoever is working more, they will survive. Whoever doesn't will get laid off. So it doesn't make much sense in today's world. Second, non-incentive wage. This is very, very important. You're not getting anything extra paid for doing extra work. So why should I work more? जब एक्स्ट्रा पेमेंट नहीं है तो एक्स्ट्रा काम करने का फायदा ही क्या है? दिस इज द क्लासिक इश्यू विथ व्हाट इंडियन ब्यूरोक्रेसी. तीसरा क्या है? रूल ऑफ थंब. मतलब देयर इज नो डिफाइंड प्रोसीजर, देयर इज नो डिफाइंड स्टेप्स. जो मन में आ गया वो कर लिया. मनमानी बेसिकली. There is no reason. That is when you ask them, okay, why did you do like this? I just tried this method, it worked. There is no logic to it. There is no rationality to it. He always believed in what? There is one best way to perform a job. कोई भी काम हो, एक बेहतरीन तरीका है उस काम को करने के लिए. He believed that a true science of administration can be developed. Workers should be selected on the basis of scientific selection, just like how we have civil service. UPSC, Staff Selection Commission, SSB, scientific education and development of workers. This is very, very important. So he is probably the first person who actually believed in what the workers need to be given training. Training has to be given to them. Without training, you cannot simply ask them to do any work. And he also gave another term, which is basically very important for us, that is mental revolution. And what is mental revolution? Mental revolution simply means a change in the attitude. Revolution means change, badlav. A change in attitude. Attitude में कौन सा change? Workers should see that management wants the workers to live a good life. Management should see the workers as very hardworking. This is what it means. No, but this is not the reality. Reality हमेशा workers को ये लगता है management is not paying them enough. Management feels that workers are not doing work enough according to the payment being given. What Taylor is telling is very simple. Why are you simply fighting for the small pie? Increase the size of the pie. Pie is basically, for those who are unaware, it is a dish, food which is generally eaten by the Western nations. In Europe, USA, etc. It's pretty famous. So he's basically telling that increase the size of the pie. Pie, what he meant here is profit. Increase the profit. तो प्रॉफिट अगर इंक्रीज हो गया तो सैलरी भी इंक्रीज हो जाएगा, मैनेजमेंट भी खुश हो जाएगा. मतलब improve the productivity. और productivity कैसे increase करें? Start paying the workers incentives for better work or extra work that they are doing. So automatically workers will work more. When workers work more, productivity will increase. अगर productivity बढ़ेगा तो मुनाफा भी बढ़ेगा. मुनाफा बढ़ेगा तो salary भी बढ़ेगा. Management का भी हिस्सा बढ़ेगा. So everybody goes home happily. Neither the workers have to distrust the management, nor management has to distrust the workers. Philosophy of the principles. Scientific management, you need to have what basically science, but not rule of thumb. That is, there should be a proper steps or procedure. Just like what Wilson said. Harmony and not discord. Means what? Harmony between the management and the workers, not conflict. Cooperation, not individualism. मतलब वहां पर व्यक्तिगत फैसला you shouldn't take. Everything should be based on a cooperation between the management, between the staff, between the workers. Just like this diagram what we have seen here. Maximum output in place of restricted output. अगर ढंग से, if you are actually paying the incentive system, everything, automatically what will happen? Output will start going up. Development of each man to his greatest efficiency and prosperity. हर आदमी का काबिलियत क्या है समझ लो, train करो, and then allow him to do that work. Make a step-by-step process. He will do the work. हर आदमी खुश रहेगा. क्यों? Because he is getting what? His payment will increase. Because everything is scientifically analyzed and kept. He has to follow the steps. Automatically, his productivity will increase. His earnings will increase. Now, the problem with that statement, what is it? Taylor ho या Wilson ho, none of them focused on what? Human relation, motivation, and human behavior. टेलर का मानना यह था कि पैसा दे दो भैया, पैसा ही सब कुछ है, पैसों से ही लोग खुश हो जाएंगे. Give money to the people. With money itself, people will be happy. You need not worry about the other factors. We cannot blame Taylor here. Now we can blame Wilson here. The idea is simple. क्योंकि उस जमाने में 1900s में, as well as in 1880s, 1900s, etc., the focus was actually on how to increase efficiency, how to increase effectiveness. So उस दौरान there was no concept called as psychology, mental health. These things were not at all in fashion at that point of time. Because every organization's main concern was productivity कैसे increase करे, from where to improve the, how to improve the efficiency, how to increase the profit. Clear? Functional foremanship. Now this is a pretty controversial topic. Not controversy, but rather, क्या? कहाँ से आते हो ये लोग? That sort of a feeling. Reason being, 8 specialized supervisors, where you have 4 for planning and 4 for execution. 8 supervisors will manage 1 worker. Can't handle 1 superior only. How are you going to handle 8 people? Getting the point here. This is highly impractical in today's world. Because in today's world, we basically know it will be mostly 1 supervisor and maybe even they will have 80 people under their team. This is very much possible. But the other one, it is totally not a good idea. Why? Because 8 people will give 8 ideas. There is definitely going to be a lot of collision. Henry Fayol, he basically gave 6 activities: technical activity, commercial activity, financial activity, security activity, accounting activities, and managerial activities. For managerial activities, again, he split it into 5: POCC, planning, organization, command, coordination, control. Then, whoever it is, the superior should have physical, mental, moral, general education, special knowledge, as well as experience. He gave 14 principles: division of work, authority and responsibility, discipline, unity of command, unity of direction. So division of work, which we already know, dividing the work according to the capability. जितना ज़्यादा जिम्मेदारी, उतना ज़्यादा responsibility. So the village officer's responsibility is very less compared to a district collector. Therefore, who will have ज़्यादा adhikar? District collector, obviously, because he has too much of responsibility. He or she has to take care of the entire district. Discipline should be there, obviously. Unity of command. Unity of command का मतलब है एक ही senior. But this is sometimes not possible, especially for the SP. Kyunki SP has to listen from DC also and the senior superintendent of police. That is two people commanding. Unity of direction. Entire organization, the entire subunits within an organization, everybody should move in what? The same direction. Towards the same goal, towards the same mission. Best example, the position of Chief of Army Staff. Why did we create it? To bring in unity of direction between the three armed forces, Army, Navy, Air Force. Subordination of individual interest to group interest. मतलब इंडिविजुअल का चाहते क्या है, इंडिविजुअल का डिजायर्स क्या है, that is not relevant here. Organization is supreme. In Indian bureaucracy's context, it is very, very, very important. What you are as an officer is not so important as the whole system. System will keep moving forward. So your interests, your likes, मैं ये करूंगा, वो करूंगा, सिंगम बनूंगा, दबंग बनूंगा. You have to work within the interest of the organization. You cannot jeopardize the organization's interest for your own personal interest or personal fame or glory. Remuneration of personnel, definitely, because if I tell you tomorrow the salary of IAS is going to be 15,000 rupees per month. 15,000 rupees per month. How many of you will still prepare for this exam? Probably zero. The moment salary goes outside the window or the salary starts declining, automatically any job will look what? Less attractive. चाहे वो government की हो या private की. Centralization. Centralization means everything comes from a single place. Power is concentrated at the top. So in Indian administration, we know one thing. That is, we have a strong union, which is very true. Scalar chain. Scalar chain again represents the whole hierarchy and number of subordinates that are there under a senior. Order. Again, order should be there. Clearly, who comes first, who comes later, all of that, it should be clearly mentioned. Equity. What is equity? Equity simply means you are trying to, the administration should be such that whoever are lesser disadvantaged, whoever, they should be brought forward. There should be a sense of equity in the organization. Giving training to those workers who really require it. Placing the workers according to their talent. This is basically, you actually see, these are the examples of Henry Fayol, where he actually considered a little more about the human being, not just in money terms, but in terms of their creativity or their talent. Little. But the problem here is that Henry Fayol, because he belonged to the classical era, everybody criticized him as what? Oh, he did not talk about human relation. He only talked about money. Not entirely true. Stability of tenure of personnel. Again. So there should be job security. Even today, you as well as many people prepare for a government job for what reason? Because you know it very well. Until and unless you do a Himalayan blunder, nobody is going to take you out of the job. But when I tell you, okay, in a private job, you are going to get 30 lakhs as starting salary, 40 lakhs as starting salary, immediately your next question will be, kitne saalon ke liye? How long? 40 lakhs, okay, is saal. Theek hai. Next saal, will I have the job with me? No guarantee. Initiative. It's a very interesting point. That is, this will be probably the only thinker again from the classical era who talked about some initiative from the side of the workers. Because you can clearly see he gives emphasis to knowledge as well as experience. And when you have knowledge, when you have experience, definitely it gives room for what? Innovation. Naya ideas, naya soch. Esprit de corps. Esprit de corps is a French word because obviously he's a French thinker. Means what? Harmony, brotherhood. All of them should work like a brotherhood. So these points clearly tells that he somewhere or the other gave emphasis to the psychology. He did give emphasis to money. He did give emphasis to social cooperation. within an organization. But the fact of the matter is, and interestingly enough, Henry Fayol did not say that ये 14 principles, ये है सबसे अंत, इसके आगे कुछ नहीं, इसके पीछे कुछ नहीं. Unlike Taylor, he didn't say that. He basically told, see, my 14 principles are there. You can either add whatever you need or you can subtract whatever you want to take away. So he has actually said that, he has given that freedom to us. जो चाहे ले लो, जो नहीं चाहिए हटा दो. But the fact of the matter is, everybody criticizes him, telling that he never talked about human emotions, he never talked about human behavior. Actually not. He did. But he didn't clearly tell how this will impact an organization. How the lack of initiative or the lack of security or the lack of harmony will impact an organization. Uske upar he did not conduct any study as such, nor we have any material to actually say why this is needed. Then he talked about gangplank. And what is gangplank? Gangplank simply means if you have the blessings of your superior. So let us say you are the commissioner. There is one AC working under you, assistant commissioner. There is another AC working under you. Olden times, what it would mean is, हर चीज के लिए you will first contact your commissioner. Then the commissioner will contact this AC too. Then from here, whatever inputs you get, you will transfer it to AC1. As you can clearly see, it will create unnecessary delay. So the commissioner, as being the commissioner, he will say, see, listen, for routine mamla, why don't you people converse with yourself? Why don't you people do it? All right, gangplank as an idea he suggested long ago. Today, gangplank is being made possible. We all are using it, but very few knows what is its real name, and it is gangplank. And how is it happening today? It is happening through WhatsApp groups. Whichever government department you are going to join, I will tell you, there will be a WhatsApp group. There will be a WhatsApp group for just you, your colleagues, and your immediate senior. There will be another group for the entire office. So you will discuss things with your senior, and once your senior gives the green signal, only then you will communicate things in the main group. Because in the main group, you will have the senior of the office, the head of the office. So you can communicate with your colleagues also. So in that same group, your senior will be there who is seeing it. Okay, what is the communication happening between two colleagues? Getting the point here. So today it is there. Gangplank as an idea exists today, but it is just that nobody knows it is gangplank. Everybody is using it. Getting the point here. Just that the senior knows whatever is happening, whatever. That is, tomorrow when you become a commissioner, you will know whatever is the communication that is happening between AC1 and AC2. Or even if you are an AC, you will know what is the communication that is happening between different police stations under your jurisdiction. You can see the communication there. Got the point here. So gangplank is relevant even today. Technology has made it possible. Back then when he said this idea, people did not find it easy. People were like, yaar, ye kaise? How will you do it? But today, technology is there. Because be it Woodrow Wilson, be it F.W. Taylor, be it Henry Fayol, they did not factor in the emergence of technology. Technology aane ke wajah se how things will change. How will things become more efficient, more economic, more effective? Aage. Importance of structure, Gulick and Ervik talked about. Agar structure nahi hai, it will lead to lack of logic. It is very cruel on the workers. It will lead to a lot of wastage and it will become very inefficient. He gave 29 principles. Investigation means to investigate. Forecasting and planning, almost the same meaning. Forecasting means to predict. Planning also means for future. So this is the first and foremost criticism. एक ही चीज दो अलग terms से, like synonyms, same meaning. Prediction, forecasting. Planning, forecasting. How is it different? From what angle? Appropriateness. जो भी principles हो, वो appropriate होना चाहिए इस organization के लिए. then पूरा organization का, और how are you going to organize the organization? कैसे वो उसका स्ट्रक्चर कैसे होगा? Coordination, definitely you need total cooperation. Order, again, don't you think these two are almost the same? Command, control. कमांड का मतलब क्या है? ऊपर से कमांड आएगा. कंट्रोल भी कहां से आएगा? ऊपर से ही आएगा. कमांड इज ऑल्सो कमिंग फ्रॉम टॉप, कंट्रोल इज ऑल्सो कमिंग फ्रॉम टॉप. हाउ आर दे डिफरेंट? कोऑर्डिनेटिव प्रिंसिपल. अब इन दोनों में व्हाट इज द फर्क? अथॉरिटी, फाइन. स्केलर प्रोसेस. स्केलर प्रोसेस एक्चुअली सिंपली मींस हायरार्की. ऊपर से नीचे कौन कौन. Assignment of functions. It's almost like division of work and assigning each one of them jobs according to their capability. Leadership. अब ये देखो, इन दोनों में फर्क क्या है? Delegation. Delegation means you are delegating the authority. Like I've always said it in my class, it is not that once you become a commissioner, that is SP level तक ठीक है. But उसके ऊपर जब जब आप जाओगे, from that point onwards, it is an administrative job. Until and unless you have some major issue happening, you will not get down to the field level. You will take the phone and you will just administer or manage your team. That is the point there. So, in such a scenario, what do? You give the command to your junior officer. You delegate the work to them. You delegate the responsibility to them. Functional definition. Functional means what? Based on what functions you will be carrying out. A worker will have to carry out what and all job they will carry out. As you can clearly see, this and this, again, it is matching. Determinative, applicative, interpretative. Determinative, you should be able to determine the outcome. Applicative, to apply your knowledge. Interpretative, interpret a situation. Interpretative, you interpret a situation. Interpretative gives indirect hint on one thing. Improvise according to situation. वक्त के हिसाब से, हालात के हिसाब से change. But again, just like Henry Fayol, this point of Gulick and Harvey got ignored. The general interest, एक जनरल इंटरेस्ट होना चाहिए काम में. वापस देखो, सेंट्रलाइजेशन, जस्ट लाइक अथॉरिटी एंड लीडरशिप और कमांड एंड कंट्रोल, एवरीथिंग कमिंग फ्रॉम टॉप. सिमिलर मीनिंग. स्टाफिंग द वर्कर्स, एक स्पिरिट होना चाहिए काम करने का. Selection and placement, again, assignment of functions, selection and placement, same thing. Rewards and sanctions. Incentive, जहां incentive देना है वहां पर incentive, जहां punishment देना है वहां पर punishment. Initiative, specifically as mentioned, equity, give additional help to the workers who need it. Discipline, which is similar to order. Unity, ekta. These 29 principles also, when you look at it, you can clearly see what a lot of overlapping is there. A lot of things are the same. And that is again one of the biggest criticism of Gulick and Harvey. यार एक ही चीज बार बार इधर से उधर, उधर से इधर. What are you trying to prove? The idea was simple. Gulick and Harvey wanted to make their principles to be very exhaustive. यानी भी किसी भी एंगल से अगर आप देख लो, our principles are perfect. परफेक्ट बनाने के चक्कर में क्या हुआ? You have a lot of overlap. You will find a lot. Executive functions involves post-corp, planning, organizing, staffing, coordinating, reporting, budgeting. Now, this thinker, very less it is asked. Not a single question has come directly in this last 11 years. 2013 से लेकर 2024 तक एक भी सवाल नहीं आया है. अगर आएगा तो भी यही चीज लिखना है. To what extent it is relevant and what extent it is irrelevant. Clear, people? Just to add a point here, under Taylorism, Remember this much. Neo-Taylorism means New Taylorism. New Taylorism का मतलब है Taylor's ideas with suitable modifications. Any process or system where you are implementing Taylor's ideas, but then you are bringing what modifications in it. So some ideas which are not relevant today is definitely totally not relevant. 8 foremen for one worker or 8 supervisors for one worker. This is not possible. And it is not always one best method. The method will keep on changing depending upon the environment. And again, the human relation aspect, behavioral aspect, motivational aspect, all these you need to factor in. But otherwise, if you generally look at it, jhatka wala situations is very less in bureaucracy. It is not that every day you will be running and chasing terrorists or you will be having everyday COVID-19. No, we know it very well today that 80 to 90% of the work is what? It is routine in a government job or in Indian bureaucracy. 80 to 90% it is routine job. So obviously when for routine jobs you can have what? One best method. It is easily possible. And today we can use what? AI to automate a lot of functions. And through new applications, say for example, e-office, e-Vidhan, and other digitalization processes, etc., Neo-Taylorism is a reality. Because one best method, definitely, e-office is the best method today to save on time, reduce bureaucratic delays, ensure accountability, ensure performance review. All of that, e-office is the best. To know how the MLAs or MPs are functioning across the country, e-Vidhan system is the best. In the case of cops also, all the police stations today are linked by crime and criminal tracking network system. All these are nothing but what? Neo-Taylorism. Got it, dear people? इसके ऊपर ज्यादा सवाल आते हैं. This thinker. Woodrow Wilson के ऊपर there was only one question in the last 11 years. All right. Not 11, sorry, 12 years. Theory of departmentalization. He gave 4 P's: purpose, process, person, place. That is, departments can be differentiated on the basis of what? What is the purpose that they are trying to do? What is the process involved in it? Who are the people running it? And from which place it is running it? So purpose means, let us say, a department with a particular purpose. Department of Personnel and Training. What is the purpose there? To basically regulate the matters with regard to central civil servants as well as all India civil servants. Process. A department which is known for its process. Let us say Department of Post. They are involved in the process of what? Delivering of letters, etc. Post, whatever. Person. A department known for the people who are running it. Best example, the Prime Minister's office. Then a department known for its place. Northeast. But what is the problem with this whole thing? All are interchangeable, right? DOPT also, I can define it on the basis of the process there. What is the process? Disciplinary process. DOPT, I can say again, based on the person who is running it. DOPT directly comes under the PMO. I can also say based on the place. What is the place? Pan-India. So it doesn't make much sense actually. Borderline, it is confusing. Getting the point here? Because in today's world, a department cannot be just identified either only on process, purpose, person or place. एक डिपार्टमेंट ले लो, ये चारों फीचर्स उसके अंदर मिलेगा आपको, आसानी से मिलेगा. All the 4 features you will find it in a single department. Staff principle. So this line and staff distinction. What is line? What is staff? line executes, staff advises. So you, when you join the service initially as DC, as superintendent of police, you are part of the line. People will think, now I am going to be part of policy making. You are not part of policy making yet. You are still part of executive. When you get to become part of policy, let us say you get into cabinet secretariat, or you get into prime minister's office, or you get into central secretariat, or you become the chief secretary, or secretary to any ministry within the state or the central government, then and only then you will be directly part of policy making. Varna tab tak your job will be what? Collect the reports, make the reports. Reports बनाओ, reports, और जो reports आपको मिला है उस report के ऊपर report बनाओ. लिखो, 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 लिखो. When you are a collector, you will prepare the report and give it to your senior divisional commissioner. From there, it goes to the under secretary, joint secretary, etc., reaches the chief secretary. Once you become the chief secretary, what you do? You will not go to the village and collect the report right personally. You will call your collector and ask, I need these reports within this date. Your collectors will send it. It will come to the DC. Again, it will come. Finally, it will come to you. The summary, whatever is happening in the entire state. Based on that, you will write a report and you will send it to whom? Your chief minister, who will obviously not have the time to read it. And then you will basically give a summary. Ye kya hai? Based on that, they will sit together in the cabinet. That is either in the state level or at the central level. They will decide things, discuss things, they'll make the policy. Got the point here? This is how it happens. So staff basically advises. Delegation, span of control. Again, I told you the importance of delegation is what? You cannot do all the work. Prime Minister will not do all the work. Prime Minister will delegate the work. Maybe to the National Security Advisor, or to the External Affairs Minister, or to the Railway Minister. Span of control. How many subordinates can you have? So Gulick and Ervik basically told that you have too many subordinates, it will be difficult to control. Because back in Gulick and Ervik's zamana, there was no technology. But today technology has made it completely possible what? You can even have 100+ officers under you. And you can easily control all of them. A simple WhatsApp, one video conferencing is all that it takes to literally assess the performance of your team. Human factor and time in public administration. How human factor and time both will affect what? Public administration. Again, a very confusing theory put forward by Gulick and Ervik. Because he basically says that how time is seen as an input, then as an output, then as a flow of events. That is between two events, how time matters. Then gap between two or more events or processes, then management policy. Management policy with regard to the human beings. All right. So he has differentiated it. So time as an input means what? That is initially itself you are fixing a time. You need to fix a time. Let us say 100 days for Narega. That is the time fixed for it. Time as output. Output means within how much time is the project going to be completed or cleared. Metro. Flow of events. From one event to the other event to the other event. So we are basically planning a target of generating 100 gigawatt of nuclear energy. Why? Because by 2070, there is a target. What is the target? We will be a net zero emission country. We want net zero greenhouse gas emission. Gap between two or more events or processes. Two events, what is the gap? What is the gap between HAL taking up the manufacture of light combat aircraft, or HAL got the contract for manufacturing Tejas? Gap between getting the contract and Tejas light combat aircraft being inducted into the army, or sorry, the Air Force. More than 30 years. Then what is the management policy? How management is Management policy, how are they managing the human factor there? Clear? Go through it once, through my notes, etc. Just read it. That is what I would say. Just go through it. Because again, when it comes to thinkers, like I've always told you, the main agenda is what? There is a core area. From there only you will have to answer. And 99% of the time, it will always have to do with one simple thing. To what extent it is relevant today, to what extent it is irrelevant. Clear? Moving on. Max Weber, he talked about patrimonial bureaucracy and legal rational bureaucracy. Patrimonial means basically based on tradition, parampara. Legal rational bureaucracy means based on merit. To have legitimacy, 5 important beliefs are needed. What are these important beliefs? There should be a legal code. That means what? Law. A proper law, written law. Law should be abstract rules. Means what? General. Like your All India Service rules, Central Civil Service rules. Agreed, these rules are specifically for All India servants, Central Civil servants. But in that, again, if you see, most of these wordings, if you see, are pretty general. That is, for example, no officer should do any act of omission or commission which is unbecoming of an officer. That means you shouldn't do or say or behave in a way which is not good for, which is not ideal for an officer. What are they? Not defined. Obedience to impersonal order, not person. That means whatever order comes, it is to the order that you're obeying, not to the individual. Then obey impersonal order. Whatever order comes from your department. This is from the department order. This is from your senior. And last, you have qua member. Qua member means what? You're just another member in the whole system. When you become an IAS officer, आपको लगेगा हाँ भाई मैं बन गया IAS. But the reality is what? The reality is in reality is you are just one among the many officers in the country. So you will behave like a member in that organization. There is no special preference for you. Getting the point here? You're just another member of the entire Indian bureaucracy. Characteristics of legal rational bureaucracy. Official business is regulated and continuous. That is, even if, let us say, if I am an IAS officer, I am alive, I am dead, I am present, I am absent, bureaucracy will keep moving forward. Administration agency functions according to rules and is characterized by powers and functions of official defined according to impersonal criteria. Every power is defined. What a DC can do, cannot do, all that. Official is given authority corresponding to responsibility. Same thing what earlier thinkers have said. Means of compulsion are limited and the legitimacy of authority is defined. मतलब compulsive behavior. To indulge. अब अधिकार मिल गया, मैं जो करना चाहता हूं मैं कर सकता हूं. Nah, you cannot. That is the reality. You cannot do it in bureaucracy, especially in today's era. Any wrong statement given by you or even a very bad behavior from your side would tantamount to transfer. Remember the IAS couple and the whole Delhi stadium. And the legitimacy of authority is defined. Everything is clearly mentioned. What you can do and cannot do. Moving forward, hierarchy and right to appeal. There is a clear hierarchy and you have a right to appeal. That is, if you feel that, okay, your transfer is not justified or your suspension is not justified, you have the right to appeal where in tribunals. Official business and private affairs are kept totally separate. Official revenue and private income are strictly separated. That means you cannot use your office, your government post for personal gain. Offices are not appropriated. Whatever you get officially, be it the car, be it the laptop, be it a phone, you have to leave it in that office when you get your next transfer. You cannot take it away with you. Nah, this is my laptop. I want this. No, you cannot do that. Because those are part of official business. Written documents, everything is recorded. Like I told you, written documents ka zamana khatam. This is over. Everything is now e-office. By the time you people enter the service, e-office will become the norm. E-office simply means all the files are in electronic format. All the files. That whole thing about, let us searching for files or greening. I will sign with greening. I know people who keeps walking around with a green pen just to show that, oh, I have a lot of documents to sign, you see, just come for 2 minutes. So you have come for 2 minutes for a party. Why are you putting your green pen out? But they just want to show off. It's okay. Itna mehnat kar when you get into the service, you deserve to show off. But the reality is what? It's all a thing of the past. It's all a thing of the past. By the time you join the service, e-office is already implemented in almost all the central offices. So the last time I have checked, more than 90% of the central offices are under e-office. State of UP has also started taking up e-office. Again, more than 80-85% in UP also, files are completely electronized. Electronized होने का मतलब क्या है? मतलब इतना है, you cannot do any जुगाड़ with it. You cannot tear the file. In earlier zamana, that used to happen. Tearing it up, hiding the file, burning the file. None of this you can do it here. Because it will clearly show it in the system who was the last person who tampered with it. That will automatically get updated. You cannot do anything. At what time you received a file, what date you received the file, how long that file was with you, based on that, they can conduct your performance review. Based on that, the government can even decide whether to keep you in service or not. Or sabak सिखाने के लिए, maybe even give you a transfer. All these are possible. In the coming days, you will hear more and more news about these things. Clear, people? Features of officials. Staff members observe only the impersonal duties. They are appointed on the basis of contract. Even you are also appointed like that. Your job, even though people will say once you get into a government job, aram se you can be there. Not exactly true. It is based on a certain contract. There are certain do's and don'ts which you can do and which you cannot do. So you are supposed to respect it and work within the limits. Otherwise, government can easily use Rule 56J, which this current government has been using. Rule 56J ke zariye, more than 800 central officers, including central and all India service officers, have been either removed or retired prematurely. Authority is exercised through impersonal rules and loyalty is shown through its execution. So you are showing how loyal you are to the organization. How? By executing it. Appointment and job placements depend upon his professional qualifications. Definitely, IAS banega district collector, IPS banega superintendent of police. It's a full-time occupation. Definitely, 24/7, especially all India services. Salary and career advancement. Salary and career advancement, all these are basically in bureaucracy automatic. पहले, अब ऐसा नहीं है. Slowly they are bringing in performance. Performance is there. There is a mid-career performance, etc. वो पहले भी था. लेकिन these days, it is being done in a very strict fashion. And apparently, the Prime Minister's office is involved in it. They are busy now in removing those officers who are non-performing. Just remove them. Which rule? Rule 56J. Is it only happening with central services? No. Odisha has decided to do this. Odisha government has decided to do this even with their state employees. Telling you again and again, within 10 years, performance will become mandatory. So much so that DOPT, Department of Personnel and Training, has sent a circular to all the central departments, PSUs, banks, that is whatever is there under government. Government bank ho, PSU ho, government ke whatever branches, etc. are the departments, companies, corporations, sub jaga they have sent a format. That is monthly review, monthly report of performance of all the officers in a certain format has to be submitted to the DOPT. As usual, many of our central departments did not comply with it. Many of them did not send. DOPT again sent a circular telling that you have to comply with it at the earliest. That means performance review is no more going to be a 15-year affair or a 20-year affair. It will be done annually. And whoever is not performing, that is basically there are officers, once they enter into the service, they'll be like, got into civil service, enough. Now I cannot work anymore. They'll just go on applying leave. They won't come to the office on time, etc., etc. Then there are officers who are very corrupt. Then there are officers who indulge in sexual misconduct. So such people will be easily removed from the system. They have removed also a senior IAS officer who was working at the secretary level in the Home Ministry. They removed him under Rule 56J because of sexual misconduct. Getting the point here. Those days are gone. Aram se bet lo, kuch bhi karna hai kar lo. Nobody will do anything to you. No, everything is getting cut one by one, one by one. Hierarchy, definitely you have to respect the protocol. Unified control and disciplinary system. There is a clear unified control in bureaucracy. Everybody knows from which, what is the punishment involved, what is the transfer involved, who is your reporting senior. Everything is clearly defined here. Main elements of Weber's bureaucracy: impersonal order, rules, sphere of competence, again, kabiliyat, hierarchy, separation of personal and public ends, written documents, monocratic type. What do you mean by monocratic type? Bureaucracy has no replacement. No matter how much ever you criticize Indian bureaucracy, what system can you bring in its replacing it? There is no system. The only thing that you can possibly do is bring reforms in bureaucracy. How? Getting private players, getting NGOs, getting civil society organizations, encouraging Panchayati Raj institutions and municipalities, then going for complete digital governance. These are the only ways you can bring reforms in bureaucracy, but you cannot replace them, as clearly proved during COVID-19. COVID-19 clearly highlighted why you need bureaucrats. Clear, people? Max Weber, limitations on bureaucracy. So Max Weber was very much aware that bureaucrats who are technically qualified, who are working in this field for a very long time, who are always sitting with the rules, the bylaws, the orders, etc., who have worked in different ministries, they will have very good knowledge. Because we are the ones who reads all the reports. We are the ones who will read any bill, not our ministers. Understand that very clearly. So easily when you read something, you will understand what is the loophole here, what is the problem here. That automatically makes what? The bureaucrats, the bureaucracy can easily have knowledge-wise upper hand over politicians. Not all politicians are Dr. Manmohan Singh or Pranab Mukherjee or a P. Chidambaram or a Shashi Tharoor or a Nitin Gadkari or S. Jaishankar. Getting the point here. They are not, all of them are not very capable and kabil. There are people who have no idea about Indian administration. So there is always a chance that bureaucracy can dominate the lack of awareness of politicians, dominate them intellectually. So to put an end to that limit, he basically praised what? Checks on bureaucracy. What are the checks? Collegiality, having more than one person in decision making. PSU boards. Separation of powers. Keep the powers very separate. Let us not concentrate the power. So that is the reason why. So IAS as district collector will dominate even the SP. Correct. How do I separate these two powers? By bringing in commissionerate system. Because in commissionerate system, what happens? IAS officer is only responsible for the municipality. When it comes to law and order, administration, general law and order, and most of the other things, even you want to conduct a party, you want to conduct a road rally, whatever it is, you need the permission from the commissioner actually. Clear? Separation. Amateur administration. This is basically lateral entry. Best advantage is what? You get expertise, experts in the field. But what is the disadvantage of it? Revival of nepotism or spoil system. Because in India especially, through lateral entry, what is the criteria on which people are getting selected or not selected? This is not at all clear. UPSC, at least we know there is an exam. 3 levels are there: prelims, mains, interview. Based on the marks in mains and interview, final selection is made. That is very clear. But here we don't have clarity. Direct democracy. This you can only do with small countries where you are basically taking what? Their opinions. And based on that, you can either keep an officer or get an officer removed. This you cannot do it for a country like India. Representation, definitely yes. As we give more representation to the people, especially when you make Panchayati Raj institutions and municipalities stronger, then what will happen is role of IAS officers will get toned down. IAS officers are one of the roadblocks towards complete decentralization. Because let us understand here, Panchayati Raj institutions and municipality has all the powers, let us say. When it comes to road, when it comes to water, when it comes to sanitation, electricity, health, everything, education, Panchayati Raj institutions and municipality has complete power means, why do you need a DC? Forget DC, why do you even need a state government? I won't even require an MLA if everything is being provided by my panchayat or by municipality. So automatically collector's relevance also will tone down. You don't require an IAS officer because panchayat is run by panchayat president. Municipalities are run by the mayor and the elected members. Why do you need an IAS officer there? Got the point here. So this is how he basically said that let us put limitations on bureaucracy, because bureaucrats can end up being power hungry. Clear, people? So with that, we come to an end of our classical thinkers. All right. So classical thinkers, always remember, only some of them talked about emotions. Many of them did not even talk about informal groups, about building friendships or cooperations inside your working organization. They did not talk about human behavior and what motivates people to behave in a certain way. They did not talk about technology. Most of them tried to focus on a one best method or a one single scientific technique to achieve efficiency and economy. The focus was largely on increasing profit in monetary terms, but it had nothing to do with what? Nothing to do with the human element. The human element factor started coming through the famous Hawthorne experiments, which was headed by Elton Mayo. And again, before this Hawthorne experiment, he had started off with what? He had started off with a experiment which he conducted in a mill, a power mill. All right. So let us enter into human relations school now. Coming to Elton Mayo, he downplayed the importance of the incentive system and the physical conditions of work. Best example for this is ISRO as well as army. So people who work for the ISRO or for the army, agar unka dekhoge to, they are not worried about their incentive. They are not really worried about their salary. They actually feel very proud over the fact that they are contributing towards the nation. And one more thing, if you notice there, they are actually it's more about what? The emotions or the sentiments. That is why they are able to do that much of work. It's not on the basis of salary. Whatever they are doing there, it is a larger purpose there. And the unity what they have. ISRO as an organization or army as defense forces as an organization, when you take, it is top notch. Extra attention shown to workers and a sympathetic supervisor was linked to productivity. Now, this is the area where he was stretching things a little too much. Extra attention de do, sympathetic supervisor ban jao. Waqt kahan hai bhaiya? Who has the work to sit and do all this? Not at all practical in a real world administration. Maybe you can be extra sympathetic as an administrator to the people. You can show extra attention to the people as part of welfare measure. But otherwise, on a routine basis also, it is not possible actually in administration or in management to be extra sympathetic or even to show extra attention. Sense of responsibility and discipline can be formed within informal groups without coercion. मतलब क्या है? देखो, अगर देखने वाला कोई है, देखने के लिए कोई है, then everybody will put up their best behavior. Getting the point here? That is, if somebody is constantly observing you, you will try to put your best behavior. It is a fact. यहां पर भी Hawthorne experiment में भी क्या हुआ था? Because the workers knew, okay, there are people who are studying them, there are people who are taking down notes, etc. Everybody gave their best productivity. Nobody told them. No offer was given to them. No incentive was given to them. सो ध्यान किस चीज पर रहा? ध्यान इस चीज पर रहा, अरे देख रहा है, मुझे काम करना है, मुझे काम करना है. Everybody started working. Sense of responsibility and discipline can be formed within the groups without any force. Hawthorne effect कहते हैं इसे. यानी कि ये आपका ओरिजिनल बिहेवियर नहीं है, ये आपका दिखाए हुए बिहेवियर है. दिस इज योर फेक बिहेवियर. And why are you doing it? Because you're worried that, okay, the others are seeing, others are watching. Hello, CCTV. Simple funda. So when you keep CCTV in any organization inside a government building, and let us say all government offices are going to be henceforth under CCTV surveillance, and the CCTV feed will be accessible to the chief minister, the prime minister, and maybe all the senior level, secretary level पर जो भी bureaucrats है, they can all access it. अगर ऐसा एक कानून आया, imagine. Because from the CCTV, I will get to know who is coming on time, who is leaving early, who is doing work there, who is sitting and chit-chatting. Everything will be known. ये हो जाएगा. This is only a matter of time. ये आएगा. Innovation can be generated when contribution is voluntary, not forced. ये भी सही है. That is, innovation will come when you create an environment for it, not when you force it. If you are wondering why the research and development is lagging in our country, it is because of this. Because from the side of the people, it is not coming. It is always being forced that we will put this much fund, we will put that much fund. Sir, funding से नहीं होगा. लोगों को अपने आप, people should feel it by themselves that yes, we should get into research, we should take a higher degree. Establish a link between supervision, morale and productivity. तीनों के बीच गहरा रिश्ता है. The type of supervision what you have, the morale, and productivity all are linked together. Supervision is good, morale will become better of the workers, automatically production will increase. Manifest material complaints and latent psychological complaints. Manifest material complaints means these are the complaints which are associated with materialistic items. Materialistic यानी कि salary हो सकता है, job से लेकर हो सकता है. Latent psychological complaints means hidden. Explicitly आप उसे बाहर नहीं देख सकते, लेकिन it is there. जैसे कि घर में कोई परेशानी, workers whatever issues they are facing at the work area as well as their personal issues. Personal reveries inhibited the performance in the industry. What do you mean by personal reveries? Your personal problems. Informal groups had their own code of conduct and behavior. Raid buster, chestler, squealer, and officious. Raid buster is who? One who works more than the group. Chestler is who? One who is working lesser than the group. Squealer is who? One who will go and complain to the bosses. Officious is who? One who acts too official. Like थोड़ा उसे कुछ promotion मिल गया and immediately he starts acting, okay, अब मैं मामूली लोगों के साथ बात नहीं कर सकते, अब मैं ये हो गया हूं, वो हो गया हूं. भाव दिखाना basically. These terms and terminologies has been given by informal groups. That means informal groups के अंदर एक unwritten rule है, एक unwritten code of conduct है, एक unwritten code of discipline है. And that we know in every organization you have it. Even in a school you will have it. In a school also you will have terms like teacher ke chamche, topper. Getting the point? These terms, these are not given by the school. These are things that props up. Even when you join the service also, in your government departments also, there will be names like this. Either you will be getting a name because you are too good at what you do, or you will be getting a name because for all the wrong reasons. But informal groups will give you a name. And informal groups will guide your code of conduct and behavior. Logic of sentiments and logic of efficiency were at crossheads. Because efficiency meant what? To be mostly impersonal. Focusing only on the structure. Or logic of sentiments kya hai? It focused on human beings. So to be at crossheads means dono opposite to each other. Clear? Great illumination experiment basically said there is no relationship established between illumination levels, incentive schemes, and productivity levels. We know that. That is, incentive, physical conditions of work has got no impact on productivity. This is what Mayo found out. But we know the reality, no. Even today, 90% of the private companies, or more than that if you see, incentive matters. Physical conditions also matters. There is a reason why majority of the civil servants don't like a Northeast cadre. Don't like Northeast cadre. People who are from Northeast, they will like it, no doubt about it. But basically, they're from other parts of India, if they get the Northeast cadre, they will try everything in the book basically to get out from there. Not that it is an unsafe place, not that it is bad for administration, nothing like that. It's just that they don't want to be there. Why? Culture, language. It's a totally different culture. It's a totally different way of living compared to what you're usually or normally used to. From food itself, you will start facing issues. So obviously, those are the physical conditions of the job. I know people who actually went on to give one more attempt in UPSC simply because they got Northeast as their cadre. Clear? Relay assembly. Factors affecting productivity are extra attention given to worker, sympathetic supervisor, and apparent interest shown towards superiors by the management. That is, it is all about attention show karna, to show sympathy, etc. What is the reality? Reality is you have proper rules, deadlines, as well as authority. This is what is used to ensure what? To ensure that productivity is high. Punishment is what is generally used in any private organization. If you see, punishment works out better than actually going and showing attention. But in government field, like I told you, you can quote Rule 56J. Sense of responsibility and the discipline came from within the group. Hawthorne effect, I already told you that. Link between supervision, morale, and productivity. Working as a group, being treated as special, and having a sympathetic supervisor. Interviewing program, let off steam, human attitudes and sentiments, material complaints and psychological complaints, personal reveries. We saw that. Bank wiring observation room, informal groups with subgroups. Clear, people? Now, moving on. Organization, a cooperative system. Organization basically means what? It should have communication, it should have a purpose, it should have a coordination, it should have cooperation. And it will basically also have interaction between its members. Correct? He disapproved the concept of economic man and propounded contribution satisfaction equilibrium. What is contribution satisfaction equilibrium? If the workers are satisfied, the satisfaction received by the workers or experienced by the workers, if it is more than the contribution made by the company, he disapproved the concept of economic man and propounded contribution satisfaction equilibrium. What does that mean? Contribution satisfaction equilibrium simply means, so you have the worker and you have the, let us say, management. If management is able to satisfy the worker, then the worker will contribute towards the management. This is the idea. And what he is telling is, the best scenario is when satisfaction received by the worker is more than the contribution by the management. Means, let the worker get paid more than the work what he is doing. That is what it simply means. जितना काम उतना सैलरी नहीं, सैलरी ज्यादा रखो, काम से ज्यादा रखो. Give it slightly more than the work that a person is doing. Then the person will be happy. In all formal organizations, we can find informal organization, formal goal setting, and the essential socio-psychological acceptance of the same. Matlab kya hai? See, you can set any formal goal that you want as an organization, but ultimately it should be socially and psychologically accepted by the workers. It is very, very important. Informal organization functions include communicate, minimize political influence, promote self-discipline, and the development of important personal influences. Again, he highlights the importance of communication, especially in informal groups. So, informal groups के अंदर there is no politics, nothing. It is all the group behavior there. साथ में मिलकर काम करने के वजह से एक तरीका होगा काम करने का और बर्ताव करने का. English version. That is, within the informal group, if you see, they are not bothered by the office, the outside politics, nothing. They are only bothered about the group behavior when a work is given to them or when a work has to be done. Authority is based on acceptance, if not fictitious. Satisfaction ideally should be much, much more than the contribution. Then he talks about zone of indifference. So what is the idea here? The idea is pretty simple. Let us try to connect these points here now. That is, you have the zone of indifference. Okay? So this is your zone of indifference. Orders, whatever orders comes from the top, should fall within the zone of indifference. If it falls within the zone of indifference, only then it is accepted. The orders which are outside, they are not accepted. And the zone of indifference is of whom? The workers. From where the orders are coming? The orders are coming from authority. So this order which was outside the zone of indifference was not accepted. The order which fell inside this was accepted. I can increase the size of the zone of indifference. I can increase its size. I can increase the size of the zone of indifference of a worker. That means the more whatever orders I give, workers are ready to accept it. But how do I do that? I can increase this by making the satisfaction much, much more than the contribution. This, if I do, it is possible. Again, the point is it relevant today, in today's world? In today's world where you are having artificial intelligence, what we are seeing is layoffs are going on increasing. And the reality today is that satisfaction is much, much less than the contribution. Even then, people's zone of indifference is only increasing. This is the reality. आज का reality ये है. Sara orders, because they are ready to work on a Saturday, they are ready to work on a Sunday, they are even ready to what? They are even ready to work overtime. इसके लिए कोई payment नहीं है. कुछ भी नहीं है. Nothing is there. Why? What is the logic here? Today's zone of indifference is increasing. The only reason is necessity. Food, clothing, shelter. जब basic needs are not satisfied, people will do anything or everything to stay in the job. तो आज के तारीख पर ये पूरा का पूरा satisfaction more than contribution, ये सब won't work to that extent. You really need what? The real reason for the people to work hard, work more, take 2-3 jobs, work on a Saturday, work on a Sunday is what? Basic needs. 2 महीने अगर काम नहीं करोगे तो भी परवाह नहीं है, मेरे पास पैसा है, मेरे पास बैंक बैलेंस है, दैट है, दिस है. हाउ मेनी पीपल आर आउट देयर हु कैन से दैट? और 1 साल के लिए मैं ब्रेक ले रहा हूं मेरे करियर से. वेरी फ्यू पीपल आर देयर. This is the reality. Today's reality is artificial intelligence has automated a lot of jobs. Layoffs have increased. That is why people are scared today. So even though the company is not satisfying them, still the contribution from the side of the workers have gone up. The zone of indifference has, the size has increased. They are taking up all the orders of that is working even after office hours. That trend has started because of this desperation. Clear? Herbert Simon. Oh, 1 minute. Two last points were there. Functions of executive: maintenance of communication networks in the organization, securing essential services from the individuals, and the formulation of organizational purposes. Focused on organizational decision making rather than individual decision making. That is, all importance and emphasis was given only to whom? The organization, not the individual. Not at all again true. Because if you take the simple example of the Prime Minister's office, how it is run highly depends upon who is the individual there. Getting the point here. Even when you talk about cabinet secretariat, central secretariat, even though these organizations are collective organizations, not individualistic, even their working is easily influenced by whom? The Prime Minister. In that front also, when you say he focused on organizational decision making, again not relevant. Because it ultimately matters who is the Prime Minister. Even when you talk about any organization, when you talk about a district collector, it will matter who is the collector there, who is the SP there. Proponent of behavioral approach, Herbert Simon. He equated principles of administration to proverbs of administration. That is, principles of administration to proverbs. Look before you leap. Look before you leap. This is one proverb. That means be a little careful before you get into something. The another proverb is, one who hesitates always loses. That is, one who doesn't take immediate action will lose immediately. Which one is correct then? First one is telling, look, be a little careful before you get into something. Second one is telling, one who hesitates will lose. That is, if you take time, too much of time in taking a decision, you are bound to lose. That is exactly what Simon told about the classical principles of administration. That is, they both are at cross purpose. They both don't sync with each other well. Case in point being, so you have basically something called as hierarchy, correct? Hierarchy is there. You have a superior, then you have subordinates. So hierarchy plus unity of command means what? Only one command center will be there. All the power will be coming from एक ही जगह से, ठीक है? और उसके नीचे you are having enough number of subordinates. लेकिन unity of command अगर आप रखोगे तो एक ही center, organization will keep on getting bigger and bigger. You will end up having more and more levels. And as you keep having more levels in an organization, communication will become difficult. Correct? Definitely, because एक level करके जाना उतना आसान नहीं है. चलो ठीक है, let me solve this trouble. How will I do that? I'll keep a multi-member body. 3 at the top. Or okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll keep 2 subordinates under each. Span of control. Under each superior, 2 subordinates. Like that I made it. Now what has happened? I've reduced the size of my organization. Communication will improve definitely. But what about unity of command, unity of direction? क्या गारंटी है तीनों का तीन एक ही फैसला लेगा? क्या गारंटी है तीनों का तीन विल टेक द कंपनी इन द सेम डायरेक्शन? बड़ा कर दोगे तो कम्युनिकेशन वोंट बिकम क्लियर, छोटा कर दोगे तो unity of command and unity of direction goes for a toss. That is why he said these are like proverbs. मतलब सिचुएशन के ऊपर ये अच्छा भी लगेगा आपको, बुरा भी लगेगा. He was influenced by Mayo, Bernard, and Foley. He gave an empirical approach to the study of public administration. Empirical approach means one that were the values. You can observe the data or values. Theories and methodologies were again based on logical positivism. Logical positivism also means the same thing. That is, you can experience it, you can see the result for yourself. Experience, see, verify it. Subsuming of Fayol's POCCC and Gulick's post-COB, he replaced policy administration dichotomy with fact-value dichotomy. That is, he said policy and administration dichotomy. That is not how you're supposed to keep it. This is wrong. What you really need is fact, values. In other words, what he gave us was economic man who will always take decisions based on rationality, purely based on facts alone. Then you have the social man who will make irrational decisions purely on the basis of values. Then you have whom? Then you have the administrative man who will take decisions based on both facts and values. And when it comes to rationality, it is bounded rationality, means limited rationality. Sir, this is very, very true as far as an administrator is concerned, especially when it comes to dynamic situations. मतलब एक सिचुएशन आ गया जैसे कि 26/11 या फिर कोरोना, ऑल राइट, या फिर इवन आवर पहलगाम अटैक, एनी ऑफ दिस कम्स, generally the administrative man will go for this. Administrative man will go for this. थोड़ा facts भी ले लेगा, थोड़ा values भी. Because this generally bounded rationality is used, where? In dynamic situations. Why? Because you don't have the access to all the information, you don't have enough processing capacity, you don't have enough of time, and again you don't know all the consequences of choice. None of this you know, so automatically what will happen? For dynamic situations, generally people will use what? Administrative man, bounded rationality decisions. What about rational decisions? Completely rational decisions. Completely rational decisions are generally taken up basically for routine tasks. What is otherwise known as programmed decision making. Attendance, salary, leave application forms, etc. ये हर महीने होगा in any government department. वहां पर ज्यादा brains use करना कोई जरूरी नहीं है ना. It's a regular job. And 90% of your work is going to be routine only. All that you can do purely on the basis of fact. Sometimes, rarely, less than 10% chances that you will get a totally new situation. वहां पर और कोई चारा नहीं है. You will have to use a little bit of values. So in real time, in the real world, in real practical sense, if you see, administration is all between economic man and the administrative man. इसके बीच आपका administrative जिंदगी निकलेगा. Got the point here? Simon went on to say that if we use, so administrative man is here, AM, computers के जरिए we can make the administrative man take decisions which are more and more closer towards the economic man. With technology, it is very much possible. Today, even artificial intelligence is used actually to analyze the future uncertainties based on the current data, whatever we feed into it. Clear? Decision taken is based on facts and values. In any routine process, choice and action are directly related. Established reflex action. What is this established reflex action? Reflex का मतलब है automatic. जैसे मैंने कहा, salary, attendance, leave application. These are all automatic things. You don't have to put too much of brain into it. So you can keep a standard procedure for this, especially for program decision making and routine activities. Three kinds of activities are involved in decision making, and that is what? Intelligence activity, design activity, and choice activity. Wheels within wheels means intelligence activity के अंदर ही you will find what? You will find again, you need to have intelligence to carry out intelligence activity. You need to design your intelligence activity. You need to choose your intelligence activity. Same thing for design activity. डिजाइन एक्टिविटी के लिए भी इंटेलिजेंस है, डिजाइन है, चॉइस है. चॉइस एक्टिविटी के लिए भी इंटेलिजेंस है, डिजाइन है, चॉइस है. दैट इज व्हाई इट इज कॉल्ड व्हील्स विद इन व्हील्स. Making a decision is not at all easy. Decisions lead towards the selection of final goals called value judgments. कौन से वैल्यू आप चूज करने वाले हो? जैसे कि freebies. Why? Decision that leads towards the selection of final goals. That is the final goal today of most state government. What is it? That we will announce freebies. Election जीतना है तो freebies. Government form करना है तो freebies. Correct? And that is called value judgment. You have selected your final goal based on your values. What is that value here? Freebie. Decisions lead towards implementation of final goals. Decisions that lead towards implementation of these freebies, that is called what? Fact judgments. Freebie abhi aapne chun liya. Based on the value what? I need to win the election. You chose freebies. Now you need to implement it. And that is when you look at the fact. What is the fact? Where is the money for it? Getting the point here. So much so that, say for example, the state of Karnataka took an extreme step very recently, whereby which they issued notices. SGST notices. State GST tax notices to the vendors. Money is not there. They're financially struggling ever since they announced freebies. Values and facts are only the premises and components which are interconnected. It's not so easy to separate facts and values always. They are very, very interconnected. All the decision-making processes are based upon rational choices only. Told it in class also. This is one of the biggest criticism of Herbert Simon. All decisions are generally not coming from a rational viewpoint. People are all capable of taking irrational decisions. All decisions coming from rationality? No. Limitations in taking rational decisions. You have limited knowledge, awareness of consequences, inadequate information, time constraints, habits of decision maker, influence of informal groups, organizational factors, and external pressures. There are 6 types of rationality: objective, subjective, conscious, deliberate, organizational, and personal. Here again, please understand, conscious and deliberate are pretty much the same. Flawed assumptions about decision maker, complete information, unlimited computational ability, and to put in order all sequences. That is to assume that anybody who can take a decision always with perfect rationality because they have all the time in the world, they have very good processing capability. Not true. Then, bounded rationality, satisficing decisions. Satisficing simply means what? A combination of satisfaction and sufficing. Economic man, facts. Administrative man, bounded rationality. Satisfying and social man, values. I already gave you that. Program decisions and non-program decisions. Then internal influence you will be having. What are they? Internal influencing factors, organizational loyalty, efficiency, and training. External influences include authority and advisory and informational services. Notes have been given on it. Just go through it. Not so important as far as Simon is concerned, but just understand he spoke about internal and external factors that will affect decision making. Clear? Moving on to Mary Parker Foley. She basically said that organization is a social system, but it is not a cooperative social system. Why? Because always in any organization you can expect what? Conflict. But conflicts, the idea is you shouldn't see conflict as a bad thing. Conflict can be made very constructive because it opens up. It opens up the organization. It makes people realize what their aspirations are, what are the issues, what are the problems. It basically brings out everything into open. So it will actually help in solving things. So she basically said that whenever a conflict is there are three ways to resolve it: domination, compromise, integration. Domination simply means what Weber has told: using your authority to get the work done. That is what happens 99% of the cases in every organization. No senior will have the time to make the junior sit down and say, Bolo beta, kya hua? Tera problem kya hai? That is never going to happen. They'll straight away say, listen, get your things in order. If you two cannot do whatever I'm asking you to do, better start packing your bags and leave this place. Put in your papers and you can leave this place. That is what happens everywhere. Next one is compromise, where both the sides feel that justice has not been done to them. Last one is integration. Integration is what Foley is suggesting, where everybody tells their side of the story and everybody goes home happily. Nobody is a loser there, everybody is a winner. Now, this integration can be used especially to resolve permanent issues. Permanent issues, especially what? Let us talk about the Métis and the cookies issue. We need to bring both of them onto the table, and only then we can find out what are their concerns, and genuinely we need to address it. But sometimes what happens is the demands kept by the Métis, demands kept by the cookies are such that we are like, ye kaise karenge? So ultimately what you will move on towards is what? Even though you will start with the idea of integration, you will eventually come to compromise. Even after, let us say now government is ready to compromise, but even then the Métis and cookies are like, no, we will not surrender our arms. We will not do this. We will not do that. Then from compromise, you have no other choice but to move to domination. Show the muscle power of the state. This is the reality. Uncover, identify, and understand. Breaking up of the whole, examination of symbols, and anticipation of conflict. Uncover, that means any outstanding issue is there. Find it out, understand it. Break up the big issue into the smaller ones. Find out each small issues, what are there. Start solving it. Examination of symbols and anticipation of conflict. Examination of symbols means the language that is used in communication. Examine it, try to understand it. Then anticipate. Anticipate future events. Like what we are using. For example, when it comes to Operation Sindoor, it is still ongoing. Why? Because we know our neighbor is a Khujli neighbor, Pakistan. There is one thing they can trust in Pakistan with regard to Pakistan is you can never trust Pakistan. That is the guarantee. So we are anticipating it. Effective integration requires high intelligence, a keen perception, discrimination, and inventiveness. That means you should be very, very prepared. You should have a high level of intelligence to understand what are the ongoing problems. You should be innovative enough to find out solutions also. Obstacles to integration are adjusted to the dominative behavior. That is, people are actually adjusted to dominative behavior. That is the reality. Ultimately, be it in government or in private job, people will do their job only when somebody threatens them. Somebody gives them a deadline. Otherwise, nobody will do it. Enjoying domination. It is easier. There is clarity. And it is much simpler. Correct? It will take very less time. Theorizing the problem. Trying to build a theory around the problem. Oh, if this happened, then this can happen and then that can happen. Not necessarily. All problems need not be theorized. Language issues, undue influence of leaders and lack of training. So if leaders try to get involved in the conflict unnecessarily, or if proper training is not given both to the leaders as well as to the workers, then conflict will keep on happening. Law of the situation. This is one of the major contributions from Mary Parker Foley. Mary Parker Foley did not believe in authority that is based on what? That is based on position or law. Instead, what did she say? The situation should decide who should become the leader. Let the situation decide. उस वक्त कौन काबिल है वो बनेगा leader. Idea is very, very unique. And that is what heroes are made of. Tukaram Omble from 26/11. But the fact of the matter here is 26/11 के लिए वो सही है. Routine काम के लिए you need a proper hierarchy and a proper structure. Dynamic situations के लिए, no doubt about it, law of the situation is more than enough. Because even if you talk about 2018 floods, who headed the rescue operation finally? It was the fishing community of Kerala. They were the ones who took the responsibility. They took the lead in rescuing the people. Because the water had reached literally from first floor. That is, ground floor is there, first floor is there. Water is reaching the first floor of the house. That level, the water has gone up. Easily 10 to 15 feet of water. No trucks will go, no trucks will go, no helicopters, etc. Not easy because it is still raining. Fishermen community, what did they do? They took their boats, put it in trucks. They brought it as much as possible, till how much of a distance the truck could go, there they took it. Then they unloaded the boats, started their Yamaha engine, started going from house to house, rescuing the people. Was any official order given to them? Did the central government say? Did the army say? Did the navy say? Or did the state government say? Did the district administration say? No. It was the law. The situation took over. And for people who have battled with the waves of the sea, ये 10 फुट का पानी ये क्या है? 4 principles in giving order: conscious attitude, responsible attitude, experimental attitude, and pooling the results. You should be very conscious, you should be responsible, you should be ready to experiment, and finally pool the results. That means सारा results क्या है वो देखो, then take the next decision. To change attitude, building up of certain attitudes, providing for their release and augmenting the release as it is being carried out. यानी कि environment ऐसा conducive होना चाहिए where you build the right attitude in the organization, encourage it, and also create venues for expressing it out. Forming habits, desirability, change the rules. Few people should be convinced in advance. That is, how to form habits. Desirability should be there. That is, to form a particular habit, it should be desirable. Rules may badlav. Then, convince a few people that if you make such a habit, these are the advantages. Convince them. Automatically, everybody will follow. Depersonalize orders to avoid bossism. Depersonalize them. Don't show your authority to your workers. Depersonalize them. Power over is coercive power. That means using your adhikar. Power with is coactive power. Coactive means what? Coactive simply means with them. You're sharing it with them. You're leading by example, not by giving order. To reduce power over, follow the law of the situation, integration, and make business a functional unity. Functional unity means what? Everybody working together towards the common goals of the business. Top level, bottom level, Sara level. Delegated authority is an obsolete expression, according to her. One of the biggest criticism again. Yani you cannot delegate your authority. Chief Minister has to do something means Chief Minister only should go and do it. Chief Minister cannot pass the authority to maybe the Chief Secretary. Chief Secretary cannot pass it to the the District Collector. SP, IG cannot delegate the authority to SP. हो नहीं सकता. Administration, be it in private or be it in public, it depends upon delegation. Why she said this is obsolete? Because according to her, situation will decide who should be the authority there. Situation will decide. तो जब सिचुएशन डिसाइड करेगा तो आप कैसे अथॉरिटी डेलीगेट करेंगे? दिस इज अ लॉजिक. रेयर केसेस फाइन, डायनामिक केसेस फाइन, बट रूटीन मामलों के लिए यू नीड अथॉरिटी and it should be delegated. Cumulative responsibility rather than ultimate responsibility. That means everybody is equally responsible for solving that situation. सबका जिम्मेदारी है, किसी एक का नहीं. Then fact control rather than man control. Don't try to control the men or your workers. Look at the facts of the situation and based on that, let the control come organically. Organically. That is the idea here. All this, it sounds good on paper, but practical level per, can you implement it? No. Correlated control rather than superimposed control, the same thing, just like coactive power. Principles of coordination, early stages, direct control, and it should be a reciprocal and continuous process. That is, this coordination is something which you have to begin from a very early stage onwards, and direct control it should be. Ensuring what everybody is in the same book, same page. Reciprocal and continuous. Control jo hai, equally it is there. So in this class, again, if we see, I am able to control you, you should also be able to control me, like that. Functional leaders rather than authoritative leaders means leaders who will take part in the action, in the function. Three critical functions of a leader are coordination, definition of purpose, and anticipation. Anticipation means anticipation of conflict. Leadership of position, leadership of personality, leadership of function. Three types of leadership. Leadership of position is given by whom? Max Weber. Leadership of personality means what? Charismatic leader. Leadership of function means one who knows the job. So according to Paule, the idea is simple. Authority is who? Who is the authority there? Depends on the situation. Why it depends on the situation? क्योंकि उस situation के लिए who can give the solution? Who knows how to solve the problem? That person should be able to do it. Clear, people? Abraham Maslow, motivational thinker, physiological needs, safety needs, belonging needs, esteem needs, self-actualization. He basically told that the needs actually moves from one level to the next level. That is only when physiological needs are satisfied. Only if physiological needs are satisfied, only then man will go to the next need, which is safety needs. And once safety needs is satisfied, it is no more a motivator. It is no more a motivator. And always it will go one by one, one by one, one by one. Means it cannot jump the level. From physiological needs, directly nobody will go to belonging needs. This is what he said. We know the reality. This is the most simplest form for an individual to explain motivation. But the reality, if you actually see, there are people whose physiological needs won't be satisfied. Still, they will directly go for what? They will directly go for self-actualization needs. That is, from here, they'll take a direct jump to here. Harikala Hajjaba, Padma Award winner, or any Padma Award winners, you find it out in the internet. They will all, most of them will be actually from poor backgrounds where they don't even have proper food, clothing, shelter, nothing is there. But they are already thinking about community, the environment, the animals, the people, the downtrodden, like that. Plenty are there. But this just gives us a basic idea how a human being's mind functions. Not necessarily this is the same thing for everybody. Getting the point here? Generally, this principle, if you see, it is followed by many rich people. Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, even Ambani, Adani, Tata, Birla, they all, that is, as they become richer, recognition, everything they get, slowly what they do, they start contributing towards the society. They find happiness in working for the upliftment of the society. Money, profit, none of this matters to them anymore because they have plenty. Got it here? Frederick Herzberg gave the two-factor theory, which basically talked about hygiene and motivators. Hygiene factors are basically what? Maintenance factors. These are largely what we call extrinsic. The job, the type of the job, how is the table, what is the physical conditions of the work. If hygiene factors are not there, it will lead to dissatisfaction. But if hygiene factors are there, physical conditions are good, AC is there, everything is there, it will lead to a condition of no dissatisfaction. Then comes growth, motivators, intrinsic and satisfaction. Growth factors. These are your motivators, what helps you to stay in the job. They are intrinsic. This is about getting a larger responsibility, being part of a larger team, all that. And this gives you satisfaction. If you don't have enough growth in the organization, it will lead to what? No satisfaction. Both are two different. It is not a continuous thing. Satisfaction, no satisfaction. Dissatisfaction, no dissatisfaction. Hygiene factors are there, then there will be no dissatisfaction. If growth factors are there, then it will lead to satisfaction. Clear? Satisfaction, dissatisfaction were not on a continuum with one increasing and the other one decreasing. Job enrichment through vertical loading. That is the key. Responsibility of managers. Vertical loading is what is needed. Vertical loading means your responsibility is increasing. You are part of a larger project. You are now heading a separate team. You have a separate goal, separate task, etc. That is vertical loading. Horizontal loading simply means you are having, let us say, earlier your target was 100. Now your target is 150. Same job, same gisa pita hua naukri only you are doing. Vertical loading is generally missing in Group C, Group D level jobs. That is why if you go to any government office, the lowest ranked officers there will be showing the highest attitude. Clerk, peon, constable. Why? Because 20 साल से 30 साल से वही घिसा पिटा हुआ काम they are doing. Try meeting an IAS or IPS officer. 90% of the time you will feel, अरे यार ये लोग इतना डाउन टू अर्थ है, इतना हम्बल है, इतना भाव नहीं दिखा रहा जितना वो कांस्टेबल दिखा दिया. Why do you get that feeling? This is the reason. Because there is no vertical loading in their job. They are getting their increments. Increments they are getting every year. From a constable, maybe they would have become a head constable. From a head constable, maximum they'll become an ASI, Assistant Sub-Inspector of Police. That's it. Beyond that, they are not going to get anything. But what is the job here? Job is the same. Wahi bandobast, wahi postmortem, wahi jakar, what is it, license check karna, gaadi ko rokna, etc., etc. It is the same job. This happens, this is during a span of 25 to 30 years. 25 से लेकर 30 साल तक वही काम आप कर रहे हो. Where you are only getting what? Horizontal loading, no vertical loading. Clear? Horizontal loading, however, is the reality in organizations. That is generally the reality, except in high-profile jobs. That is why is IAS, IPS, even IFS, Foreign Service and Forest Service. All of this, why people love this job is what? Why? Vertical loading is very high. You could have started out as a collector, but in all probability, after 30-35 years, you can end up at the Prime Minister's office, or you can end up as in any one of the constitutional bodies, UPSC, Finance Commission, or Comptroller and Auditor General, Election Commission of India, anywhere. That opportunity is not there for somebody who joins the state service as a constable or as a clerk. Clear? This is the diagram. Hygiene factors, dissatisfaction. If it is there, it will lead to no dissatisfaction. Means you are not so happy. Means you are not sad. Not sad. If it is not there, you will become sad. If growth factors are there, you will be happy. If it is not there, not happy. Not that you are sad. You are just not happy. वही काम करते जा रहे हैं. That's it. Clear? Douglas McGregor. Douglas McGregor talked about two theories, theory X, theory Y. That is, workers will exhibit two types of theories, behavior. One is theory X, the other is theory Y. Theory X is what? Theory X are basically people who dislikes work, attempts to avoid it. They don't have ambition. They want no responsibility. They follow rather than lead. Self-centered they are. They does not care about organizational goals. They resist change. They are gullible. They are not intelligent. Generally, you will see this behavior among blue-collared workers. People who are doing very small jobs, sanitation department, or maybe even the PWD department, like I told you, peon, cleaning staff, drivers, etc. You go them and tell, come on, you should grow in life. They'll be like, nahi sir, ye kafi hai. This is fine. I'm getting salary. I'm able to eat. I'm able to go home. For me, this is enough. They don't seek higher responsibility, higher roles, nothing. Not everybody wants to grow in life. Job-wise, I'm talking about. Or income-wise also. Not everybody has that desire. That is theory X behavior. What is theory Y? They work natural. Work is natural as play and rest. Means they love work. They are self-directed. You don't have to tell them. They will only create their own path. They are committed to their objectives if rewards are in place that address self-fulfillment. So if you give them the right amount of reward as promotion or as salary or as both, they will remain committed to the organization. Seek responsibility. They love more zimmedari. They are creative and they come with unique ideas. Then he talked about two things. Scanlon plan, line staff relationship. What is the Scanlon plan? Scanlon plan simply means I gave an idea to the company. Because of the idea that what I gave to the company, company's revenue suddenly shot up. Company became super famous. Company's revenue increased. Company's profit increased. So to keep me motivated, what should the company do? Give me a percentage share in the profit. So what? I will be charged. The other employees also will be charged. They will also feel, oh, okay, if he got, let us also work. Line staff relationship. Line means they are the people who will execute. Staff is the people who will design on the policies. All right. And in the line staff relationship also, we should have a little bit of both theory X and theory Y also. Why? Every time we cannot expect the IAS, IPS officers to act and do things independently. No. They also need to have what? Need to be put on track. That is, follow the orders. Jitna kaha gaya hai, bas utna hi kar. At the same time, in rare situations, we want them to what? To come out with their creativity. The line staff relationship, if you see, both the areas, you require what? A little bit of both. X is also needed and Y is also needed. As well as X plus Y. Clear? Chris Argyris, same thing. He gave the maturity continuum, just like theory X and Y of Douglas McGregor. He gave importance to importance of interpersonal competence. That is between the workers, self-acceptance, confirmation, and essentiality. Under these three headings, he had explained it. There are 4 types of behavior: owning, open, experimenting, and helping. All right, people. So with this, we are winding up the first part of paper 1 till here. All right. The second part will be uploaded very shortly. Happy preparation. Any other topic you want me to take also, let me know. I have made a small compilation of a few topics which are asked, but then many a times what happens is students don't have a clarity how to write it. Because 1, it is too theoretical. 2, how to connect it with paper 1 and paper 2. Many a times the doubt is that those topics I've kept it separately. I'll be taking it towards the end. Clear? So happy studying. Any comments, any issues, let me know in the comment section. All the very best.